Welcome back to the channel, guys, and a few weeks ago I made a video about the current debit card, which had a feature that allowed you to get your kids a debit card and send money to them. Now, the idea behind this is to get them started early with managing their own money, and it is 2020, so instead of giving them cash, we should keep up with the times and use plastic instead. Now, this was or is a big deal because most banks, or most but not all banks really, don't allow kids to have debit cards or accounts unless it's with the parent, and some even have age restrictions. So current kind of filled that space or that gap that was missing. And if you have a child that's 13 years or over, you could get them their own debit card and load funds on it whenever you want or need to, and allow them to use the card themselves. So today I have an alternative or another idea, because the current account, although it was or is good, there were a couple of issues I found with it that I didn't like. And the main one was that if you give your kids one of these cards and you don't have money in the app, but you want to send some money to them, then adding the funds to the app and then transferring to their card isn't instant. And I thought this was a big inconvenience, right? Now, guys, just before we go any further in this video, a very quick reminder here. If you're new and you're seeing me here for the very first time, my name is Ian, and here on this channel, I talk about saving money, investing money, and anything that has to do with personal finance. So if these are topics that will interest you, be sure to give this video a thumbs up. I'll really appreciate it. And also consider subscribing to this channel and turning on the notifications when you do so you can get the updates when I post new videos here, which is at least once per day here on YouTube. Now, the alternative here is to use cash, and I know I just said it's 2020 and we're trying to use plastic instead of cash, but if you really want to get your kids involved with money at an age that's even younger than 13, then cash is the best way, and here's why, right? Studies have been done on people and have shown that cash, or spending cash, and spending using a card are two different things. So when you use a credit or a debit card to spend, you'll swipe the card, receive your goods, and also the card, and you'll be on your way. Now, you know how much money you're spending, but you're not really seeing the transaction, so it doesn't affect your brain as much. Think about it, right? Spending $300 on your card versus actually giving someone $300 in cash, all 20s. It's not the same thing. Now, when you give them the physical money, it triggers your brain, and for that reason, by spending cash, people on average are about 15% more likely to spend less when using cash. Now, if you know who Dave Ramsey is, then you should know what I'm talking about here. He talks about this all the time, and he is anti-credit card for this very reason. Now, even though I don't agree with his thoughts on credit cards, this part of it makes sense, because even when if I use cash, I'm more reluctant to hand the money over than if I'm using plastic. So guys, the point here is, or the point I'm getting at here, is that using cash will actually help your kids learn more about managing money than with a plastic card. Now again, if you're wondering why you should give kids money at such an early age, it's because you want them to learn how important money is, because let's not joke about it here, right? It's very important. And also, you may reward them for chores or something else with the money, like a lot of parents already do. Now, if you are against giving your kids money at a younger age, you may want to consider doing it, because here's the thing: they won't be kids forever. Real life is waiting for them, and at some point they'll have to learn a few fundamental principles, and that's even if they get lucky and win the lottery, or they're gifted to have some special skills that makes them a high income earner. They still need to learn that money is a product of value, and the more value you provide, then the more money you will get. And if you can't provide any value, then the less money you will get and end up having. Also, you don't want them to grow up blowing all their money and then becoming homeless, because they aren't going to learn this in Finance 101 class, right? Now, if you wait until they're 17 or 18 years, it may be too late, because by then they're already accustomed to you just giving them money and them thinking, or their brain telling them, that money will just always appear and they can always spend, and they don't have that knowledge that, hey, even if you start your own business, it requires you doing something, no matter how little or how much, for you to keep getting that money and to keep getting money coming in. Now, I mean, let's look at the numbers, right? 51% of Americans aren't able to cope with a $400 emergency because they're really bad with their finances, and as little as $400 may be, or big, whichever way you decide to look at it, that amount of money can and will set them back and put them into debt. Now, for the rest of the population, the average amount in a savings account was $5,000, which is good or bad depending on how you look at it. And the older you are, say late 20s and onward, especially if you have a career and responsibilities such as your own home, car, bills, student loans, then this is not as much as it sounds, right? I mean, let's say you're 28 years old and you have a house. You have $5K in savings and the roof starts leaking, or there's a high pressure water leak in your walls. Just one simple emergency like this could set you back into the negative. Now, like I always say, they never teach this in schools and I still don't understand why, and so we have to teach our kids how to manage money ourselves. So again, to do this, starting earlier, use cash. Now, let's go over some numbers so this can make sense to you guys. Let's say you give your kids $25 a week in cash or as an allowance or whatever you want to say, right? Now, of course, this number can be higher or lower, but let's just say this and see how this works out. Now, there are an average 52 weeks in a year. So 25 times 52 is equal to $1,300. So that's the amount of money they will have saved in a year. Now, why am I telling you this? Well, remember, the main point here is to get them to learn the importance of money and managing it well, and there's no better way than to show them that, hey, you should save a percentage of your money for the things you want, and also put investing in it as well, because that's important too. Now, 1,300 times 18 gets you to $23,400. So at the end of them saving this on a weekly basis, they would have almost $25,000 at 18 to buy a new car, or pay some college tuition, or something that they really want or need. Now, this doesn't have to be their entire allowance or the entire amount of money you give them, right? It can be a percentage, but you guys should get the point. You get them saving so that they know the importance of money, and they know that if they want something, they can save their money and get it. Now, if you're like me, then you'll want to teach the kids about investments because you want to give them a head start on the rat race that's ahead. And on this channel, I talk about how much you can grow your money by just simply investing it instead of saving. So let's go a step further now and talk about investing here. And by the way, guys, we aren't saving this money at home anymore, right? So instead of getting the current card, simply open an account in your name and a savings account, and then you can tell the kids, okay, this is going to be your account. That way you get around the restrictions of them not being able to see how this works at a younger age. Now, this account is for them only. So whatever they decide to save goes into this account, and you can just add them as a beneficiary, and when they get to 13 years or older, you can add them to the account, and when they get old enough, you remove your name and it's all theirs. So we're giving them cash and then showing them the full process here. Now, you get the cash, you spend some, and you save some. Now, I just mentioned investments, and the same goes for an investment account. So let's again say you give them $25 a week, which is $1,300 per year. The S&P 500, which is the most popular, less complicated, and gives good returns on average, produces somewhere around 8% in returns plus dividends, right? So let's look at this simple calculator, and you guys will see a lot of these in my videos, right? So we have 17 years here and not 18 because we're assuming we start with $1,300 at the age of 1, and then we add $1,300 each year for 18 years or 17 years at 8% return. So by investing this money, not only are you telling your kids that they'll have more money and showing them the importance of investing, but they'll see the money growing, and it will get them thinking and knowing that, hey, instead of spending all my money on clothes and video games, which they will spend some of their money on, but still the key word here is all, right? All their money, they should invest some, save some, and it will help them pay for the things they want or will need at a future date. Now, not only does this help them see how this works firsthand, but also we just doubled the amount of money they would have at the end, because instead of merely saving around $25,000, they would have saved the same amount, yes, but it would have grown to almost double that amount because of the investments. So again, guys, the point here is that you give them cash, you let them spend the cash. It tells their brains, hey, I give my cash away for things and I never get it back unless I provide some value somewhere, which could be a 9-to-5 job or owning a business or providing some services Or as a kid, I'm not sure what that could be, but it could be doing chores or getting rewarded for excellent grades or something of the sort, right? Also, you tell them, and most importantly, show them that, hey, if you want to buy that big red toy truck and you don't have all the money now, you need to save some money, and you give them the cash and let them save in the savings account, and you also let them invest it, right? So you're telling them and you're showing them at the same time and giving them the experience. So this breaks the cycle of this generation or the next one to come, and instead of having the typical conversation with your kids that goes something like, hey dad, or hey mom, I'm stressed because my roof is leaking and my insurance won't cover it because it's not covered, and I'm going to have to take out a personal loan at 25% interest per year, and it's stressing me out because I just leased a new car and most of my paycheck is going there and I only have $250 in my savings account. Instead, the conversation should be more like, hey dad, or hey mom, I'm so happy I learned about money because I invested 10% of my income, and now I'm able to put 20% down on my new home, and I can purchase that newer year car also with a good down payment to keep my monthly payments low and comfortable without stretching myself. And also I have 3 to 6 months of expenses in savings in case some emergency pops up. And that's the main point here. So if you are thinking about getting the current card or any other card for this reason, this is a possible alternative and solution to this problem. So the cards are good, but cash is ultimately better in this situation. What do you guys think about this strategy? Do you think it's better than the current debit card for kids, or would you use the card as well as cash to help get your kids learning more about money and managing money? Drop me a comment down below with your thoughts on this one. Now, I hope you guys found this video helpful, and if so, give this video a thumbs up, as that's how videos get recommended to more people, and I'll really appreciate it, right? Also, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, as I recently realized that 85% of my viewers are unsubscribed. So if you want to get the updates and alerts when I post new videos here, be sure to subscribe to the channel. And if you're a new viewer or a new subscriber here on the channel, be sure to check out some of my other videos about high yield savings accounts, checking accounts, investments, credit cards, and of course, ways that you can use and make money. Also guys, down below in the description, I'm leaving a couple links to free stuff, free cashback offers, so be sure to check the links down below in the description for all kinds of free stuff. Once again guys, thanks for tuning into the channel. All the best with your savings, investments, and teaching your kids about money. And until tomorrow, adios.